Into the ballgame is Paul McKeskey, who's become kind of a cult hero in Milwaukee, Tommy.
Fred Roberts hits McKeskey at the other end.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to a Friday night edition. We Got Next, Final Four preview edition of We Got Next. I'm Ricky Hampton with my great friend, Paul McKeskey, former Milwaukee Bucks legendary center from the days when the Bucks ruled the Midwest.
I don't know about that, but we were pretty good.
Yeah, pretty damn good, I must say. Mo, it's good to see you, man. It's good to do this tonight because we got the Final Four tomorrow. We got some good matchups going on tomorrow, and that'll be fun to check out. I'm watching the end of this first women's Final Four tonight, and South Carolina's in control, up 17 with 3 minutes left. Mo, I tell you about South Carolina, you could tell that's a team that's been to 5 straight Final Fours. They got off to a terrible start. They were down 10-2, 12-2. And Don Staley was just saying, "Hey, just relax."
You know what the least important score is in basketball?
What?
Halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, sure you want to be up, but you're up 18-2 in the first 3 minutes. Nobody cares. It depends on how you react to it. I mean, it's going to catch up to you, right? And one team gets hot, one team can't make a shot. As long as you stick with it, you have the right game plan, and you have the players to do it. You're just going to keep. I've told you many, many times. Well, like a team will be down by 15 points at halftime, and there's 2 different ways that this happens. So when I go in the locker room at halftime and I'm down 15, if I look at the first half and go, man, we played pretty good. We made some shots and we played pretty good. We're in trouble. But if we didn't make a shot, turned the ball over, played terrible, I'm okay. We're just going to play like we usually play in the second half and it'll come back to us. But those are 2 different situations that you can have at halftime. You can be down 20 at halftime. They made all their shots. They usually don't shoot that well. We couldn't make a shot. We couldn't buy a basket, and we're going to be okay. That game's going to come back to us. Watch.
Hey, was that the case before the three-pointer became so prevalent too? Has that always been the case?
No, I think the three-pointer had the impact on that because you catch up. You could be down 9 and catch up in 3 possessions. That was never the case before. It took 4 or 5 possessions. So, it happens faster now because of the three-point line. But the same, with no three-point line and you're down 20 points in the first half and you play terrible.
You can still get that.
Yeah, you can get that back. Okay, this is what we want to do. We want to win the third quarter by 10 points. Then we're down 10. It's a game, right? Anybody can win that. Going into the fourth quarter down 10, 12, anybody can win that game.
Yeah. That's good stuff, man. Hey, talking about trouble, Mo. I mean, trouble seems to find this guy everywhere he goes. Talking about John Morant. I mean, terrific player for the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he was suspended 40-something games last year. He was just found the other day for making a gun sign after scoring. I mean,
how do you feel in danger, Ricky?
Yeah, he's your franchise player.
Is he really? I mean, what kind of franchise guy? I mean, here's the. I mean, he and his dad are, I don't know, they're Mr. Controversy. They love, why? And here's the worst part about it. One of the worst parts. What was he suspended for? For showing a gun at a Denver nightclub. Hello?
A real gun.
A real gun. And then have one in his car, too. I mean, how stupid can you be? I mean, do you want to just give, hey, give me $75,000, please. You know, hey, donate 75,000 to our show. We got next. Write a check to us. I mean, how stupid is that? I don't care how much money you got, and it's only going to get worse. And if he tries to make a point, Adam Silver's going to make a real point, and then he's going to start getting suspended again, and then you're playing without your franchise player because he's suspended again for doing something stupid. How much do you want to pay that guy? I mean, it's just, I don't understand it. He's a great talent, great player. Came from not being recruited in college and not being in the draft that high, and he's come to the highest where a couple of years ago he's the new face of the league. And instead of doing that, you just do stupid stuff. Come on, man. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand that.
Yeah, and I don't know if we got a chance to talk about his coach Taylor Jenkins getting fired last week. He was 44-29 and got shown the door more. And they've actually gone 1-3.
No, worse than that. I think they're 2-7 or something.
Since he was fired. Let's see.
Yeah, it's worse than.
No, whatever it is, it's not good.
Right.
I mean,
No. I mean, it obviously wasn't the coach. And Ricky, we've talked about this on our show a lot of times. Guess who gets it first? The coach goes. And this is a franchise saying, well, Ja Morant, who's going to get suspended again probably and was suspended, well, we're going to do what's right for him, and he doesn't feel comfortable in the offense, blah, 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 blah. It's so silly, but that's the way of the NBA now. I mean, if you're not going to have guts and say, hey, listen, you're a really great player, but damn it, you get suspended all the time and do stupid stuff, and our coach is pretty damn good and got us where we are now. We're going to stick with him. How about we're going to stick with him, and you're either going to fall in line or, maybe we trade you in the offseason. I mean, what position are they now? 8th, 9th, 7th, 6th, 5th?
They are down to 6 now. Actually tied for 7th with Minnesota, and the Clippers are only a half game behind them. And the Clippers are playing well of late.
Minnesota is tied with them.
Yeah.
So they are a couple losses away from being in 8th or 9th.
In the play. Yeah.
So who cares? If you're an owner, who cares? I mean, why don't you trade him, get a couple good players, and you're going to do just as good, maybe better, and everything's going to be better. Everything's going to be smoother.
I got an idea, Mo. Trade him for Zion Williamson.
No, thank you.
I mean, those were the first 2 picks of the 2019 draft.
And they're both very talented players, but guess what? They hardly play.
Right.
Zion's always hurt and out of shape, and Ja Morant is always suspended. So, this is my point. Why are you sticking with those guys? Why? I mean, well, we're going to trade Ja Morant. Ooh, everyone's going to be, why did you trade Ja Morant? Why did you trade Ja Morant? We're going to be in 9th spot in about a week. Who cares? Because we want to have a winning philosophy around here. Would you rather be coaching Ja Morant and that group, or your Detroit Pistons right now, who aren't as talented but play really hard and do play the right way? I mean, which team would you rather follow? Which team would you rather support? I don't understand the NBA in this regard.
Now, tell me this, Mo. Is this where these guys are getting such? Is this new to the league, or the guys are just more professional?
No, I mean come on, man. Dennis Rodman. Hello. I mean, come on, man. There's outliers like that are very talented, but okay, like with Dennis Rodman, we want him to play defense and rebound, but we're gonna have him in our locker room. He's gonna be suspended for doing crazy stuff. Is it worth it? Is it still worth it? So that's been going on for as long as the league's been around, but it seems like but back then, most teams sided with the team and the coach, not the players. Unless you're a Michael Jordan or Bird or Magic, they're going to, and those guys, did they get suspended? Did they do stupid stuff? Not really. So, it's because of the money, because the players get it so early, and because they're given so much leeway that it's getting worse and worse. It's like discipline your kids. If you wait till your kid is 12 years old to start disciplining them, you're in trouble. You're going to have a kid that's in trouble. You got to start right from the get-go, right? And set the rules, and this is the way you got, you're flexible, you're a good parent and all that. But if you let a kid go crazy and then all of a sudden when he's 12 years old say, okay, now we're going to do this and this and everything's going to be strict, that's not going to work.
Right. Right. And that's probably what's happening with some of these guys that come in and they've gotten away with it just throughout, from high school through college to the NBA. But and in that regard, there are a lot of guys that come in and are pros about the game too.
Yeah. So, oh yeah. But it's a normal thing now, right? Back in the day in the NBA, if you were a good player, helped the team win, did what you're supposed to be a pro, you stayed with your team for quite a long time. Now NBA players are leaving, but why? Well, guess what? Well, look at these players in college that have gone to 3 colleges, 4 colleges.
Yeah.
They just move around. When it doesn't feel right, they just leave. Or right now they're taking NIL money. I'm just going for the money. So those guys are going to be pros. They're going to be in the NBA, a lot of them. So guess what? Just like when you don't discipline your son or daughter till they're 12, if you don't try to discipline these players when they're in high school and college, and you get to the pros and are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, you're in a lot of trouble.
Hey, I forgot to mention this to you before we went on the air. I read it here in the Detroit Free Press. Imani Bates, who was the high school phenomenon at 15, and he had committed to go to Michigan State, and he decommitted from Michigan State and came out of high school early, went to Memphis State for a minute, finished up at Eastern Michigan. At one point, he was the number 1 player in the country. Now he's on the Cavaliers roster, but he's just going back and forth from their G League team. He talked about how he wished he'd have gone and played for Tom Izzo now, and he wished that he'd have had a chance for Izzo to coach him. And Izzo's a hard-nosed coach, and he thinks he misses that now, that his career hadn't turned out quite like he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys like that. I mean, but the good news for him is, he's still young enough. If he finally gets it, find a mentor. John Lucas, someone like that will help you be a pro, and listen to people. They'll help you. And if you're not stubborn about it and willing to listen, maybe, I don't know the kid. I don't know. Is he just saying that to say it? Who knows? Maybe he is. I wish. But if he's for real about it, then he can find a mentor out there that will help him now because he's still young enough. So, don't just.
Paul Volkeski.
I'm sitting right here. Don't blah, 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 and not do anything about it. So you screwed up. Then fix it. Call somebody that can help you out and fix it and save your career while you can, because in a couple of years, nobody's going to care who you are or where you are.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to get to the games coming up tomorrow. The women are warming up for game 2 of the women's Final Four to be starting shortly. But how do you like these matchups for the men going into tomorrow, Mo?
Well, I think they should be good games. This is the first time in almost 20 years where all number 1s have made it to the Final Four, right?
Right.
And that's the reason. There is a reason for that. It's called NIL money, and it's called the transfer portal, because mid majors are not going to be in the Final Four anymore, like they were for quite a while, because the best mid major players are going to get scooped up, because now mid majors are a developmental league for the high majors in college. So you go to I don't know,
Murray State or something.
Yeah, you go to Murray State or wherever like that, and you become the player of the year in that conference, and they don't have any NIL money. So you're going to get a call from Florida, say, "Hey, listen, we'll give you $500,000. Come play for us next year as a fifth year." Okay, that's what it is now, and that's why all the number ones are there, and they're going to be there for a long time. It used to be if you got two or three number ones in the Final Four, that was big time. Not anymore. If you get a mid-major in the Final Four from now on, that's going to be a big deal. I think in the Elite Eight, the only team that was rated below 3 was Arkansas, and they were 10, and they should have been higher than that.
Yeah, coming out of the SEC, right?
Yeah, so look at look at the teams that are in your ratings in the bracket, and the men are becoming what the women are now. The women, all the higher seeds usually win.
Right.
Look at their bracket. The first round of the women's tournament, teams are losing by 40 and 50 points. Right. Because a higher level in the women's basketball has some money, has travel. The other budgets are really low. And now look at, I think, everybody in the Elite Eight was 1, 2, or 3. But that's the way the men's basketball NCAA has never been like that for a long time. It's always been underdog, right? There are no underdogs anymore because all the top teams are picking off their best players. And, you're not going to have, some player that, was overlooked recruiting or whatever. And 2 years later, he's a 6'8" kid that's playing at some mid-level and doing great and averaging 20 points. He's not going to stay there another year. He's going to go to a big team and make a lot of NIL money.
Right.
So, that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be, and that's what the NCAA. One of the things about March Madness was the madness.
Right.
Any team can win, last second shots, all this stuff. That's gone. That never happened at any of the games this year, pretty much, till the Elite Eight, maybe when all the better teams were playing. There was no March Madness anymore. It's just that was one of the selling parts of March Madness, right? Wow, any team can win. McNeese State was the Cinderella story this year, but usually there was 3 or 4, and that's not happening anymore. And it's because of NIL and transfer portal together are making it. It's not going to happen unless that changes, which I don't know if it will, because they've set a precedent, and this is what you get. A lot of times people watch what you wish for because that's what you get. Don't try to buy a car right now because that's what you get.
a kid from, and just look, I get it. But damn, I'm like, this kid from Michigan State, after the game, he was uncontrollable. He was crying after they lost to Auburn. The next day, he's in the transfer portal. Wait a minute, dude.
And he was in there. His representative, was already making calls before that game. Absolutely. I mean, and that's the other thing. They need to change this for next year. They have to change this. The transfer portal can't be active until after the Final Four. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's like, okay, let's have Oklahoma City and Boston are playing in the NBA Finals, but the free agency opened up 2 weeks ago, and a lot of their guys left because they're free agents now. That's unheard of. You wouldn't do that. That's what the NCAA has done by doing the transfer portal at that. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, after the Final Four, you shouldn't have half your team. You got to recruit your players, re-recruit your players anyway. Please don't go, blah blah blah. But you shouldn't have to do it while you're playing in the NCAA tournament. That's just ridiculous. I mean,
That's what we
how
got.
how much can the NCAA screw up, Ricky? How much can they screw up? How much? How much? First of all, the NIL money is out of control. There's no salary cap. Second of all, you can leave any team anytime you want, at any time you want. And third, the transfer portal is before the season's over.
And
It's
Mo, and they
stupid.
still bringing in barrels of money.
Yeah, I went to the Crown tournament here in Las Vegas. That's something new for teams that
I
didn't
watched
make
some of
the.
those games. Yeah.
Well, replacing the NIT, and I'll tell you why they're replacing the NIT. There was 16 teams here, including Boise State, some high level bubble teams, because this tournament, the winner gets $100,000 of NIL money in their program. Second place gets 50 grand, and
Wow.
they fly you here, they put you up, they feed you, and there's 16 teams. I went to 2 days of games. It's at the MGM, but now they're playing the T-Mobile at the championship tomorrow morning. But the point is, I went to the games, and I'm sitting with friends that they like to gamble a little bit. And I'm going, you can't gamble on these games. Why? Look at their bench. There's only 7 players. There's only 8 players. Most of their starters are gone. They're in the transfer portal already. They're not playing.
Wow.
You have walk-ons playing because they're in the trend. All these teams had 8 guys because all the other guys were in the transfer portal.
Wow.
Now,
I saw some good games the other day.
I went to Oregon State game. My friend of mine, his dad coached there and stuff, and their three best players left. They're in the transfer portal. They're gone. And, but the coach told my friend, this is almost the most fun I've had coaching these guys for the last week or two because they're all in it together.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
win this thing. And guess what? They had a 7-foot freshman kid he played 2 minutes a game. He had 18 points and 12 rebounds and about 5 blocks. He was allowed to play. It was great to see him. And they had another sophomore from Lithuania knocking down threes. He only played 5 minutes a game. So that's the good part of what happened. But they're all in the transfer portal.
Opportunity. Hey, Mo, let's get to the game tomorrow. We got Auburn and Florida, 2 old SEC rivals. This looked like this would be a good football game, but the SEC basketball has been strong all year. Your thoughts on Auburn and Florida?
Well, I like Florida. I've liked them all year. They're big. They're physical. They can shoot. They start 2 7-footers. I love that. Most teams don't. But Auburn's been strong all year. They've kind of been, they've been up there all year. They tough it out. But really, when you look at their roster, they're like 6'8" and under players. I mean, they have Jonah Broom, who he says he's 6'10". He's about 6'8" when you watch him. But that dude can play. He posts up. He's left-handed. He can take guys off the dribble. He's tough as nails. He rebounds. They just throw it to him in the post, and he backs down guys no matter what. So, but the problem is he got really hurt in last game. And he jerked his knee around, but really he separated his elbow too, I think. Right. And he came back. He did the Willis Reed thing, and he came back and a standing ovation, and he knocked down a set shot 3, and that was great. And they cheered and everything. Michigan State should have came back, but they were playing so bad they couldn't score when he went out. But when you look at their roster, he averages 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists a game. The next couple guys average 12 and 10. They don't have enough power in their lineup. They're tough, and I don't know how healthy he's going to be. He's had a week off. That's nice, but when you hurt your elbow like that, pop it out, you hyperextended your knee. I mean, Florida's going to have to decide what they do because I've watched Auburn play, and this dude, Broom, posts up everybody. Dribble, shoulder, left-hand hook, up and under, fouls. And you're going to have to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to put a bigger guy on him, Are you going to double team them and rotate out of it? Are you going to front them and not let them catch it? They need to decide that. But I'm old school. So if I'm playing Ricky and he gets the ball, the first thing I'm doing is I'm bodying him out. I'm going to push him, shove him, and I'm going to see if that knee is holding up for him. I'm going to put him in an awkward position. Let's see if that knee holds up. Then, if that holds up and he goes to the basket, I'm going to hammer him and hit his right hand and elbow and see how that feels. And see if he can play after that. And that's old school.
What do you think about his pro prospects?
I think he's a tweener. It says he's 6'10". When you look at him, he's about 6'8". He is long. He can attack the basket. He's strong, but he's not going to be able to back down post guys in the NBA. He's not big enough. So, his 3-point shot is suspect. It is. He's one of the better players in college. He's tough as nails. But can he play at the next level? Maybe because of his toughness. So, I'd take him in the top 10 somewhere around there, but I wouldn't expect. He's got to change his game. He can't just be a bang down post up guy in the NBA. It doesn't work. So, he's going to have to work on his 3-point range. He's got a nice pull up. So, I like his game. But again, if I'm Florida, I'm going to test you and see how physically you feel. And then, because I don't think the rest of his team can pick up the slack. So we'll see.
Hey, Steve, got a question. If you played with an elbow wrap, was that cumbersome on you?
No, it was an elbow pad. So, and it was because of my bursa. I broke my bursa sac. So, it would swell up on me and then it would come down. But every time I tried to, it'd feel good and I'd take it off and then I'd play and first thing I do is hit it and it swell up again. So I just end up playing with an elbow pad. It was nothing. But that's different. He has a hyperextended elbow. That's, bursa sac, it just swells up. Hyperextended elbow is different. But, you can wrap it up. Well, it doesn't. And it's on his offhand. So that's not a big deal. When I watched that, his knee went.
That's what concerned me, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would be more. He can play. He's a lefty and it hurt his right elbow, so he can play that way. But yeah.
And Mo, he doesn't get a lot of lift either.
No, he's not a high flyer. He's not above the rim guy. He's Adrian Dantley. He's Mark Aguirre. That's who he is. That type of below the rim post up guy.
Yeah.
So I think, it depends on, these are kids. So who's going to react? Who's going to play better? I have the edge to Florida because of Broom's health. But this is a different situation. We haven't talked about it. I'm going to talk about it before we get to the next game. This is irking me, and I'm going to rant about this so you guys can listen for a little bit.
Go ahead.
So I don't understand. Here's another thing, NCAA, that I think you screwed up. Why, after playing the whole season in arenas, do you play the most important 3 games in the Final Four in a stadium that has a lifted floor, terrible background, 50, 60,000 fans, and that's a disadvantage. None of these players play in that except maybe Syracuse. So I don't understand. I understand you're selling tickets. Why do you want to sell, instead of playing in a 20,000 seat arena, so you want to sell 20,000 more seats? Is that much important to make players play on a floor with a background they're not used to, that they played the whole season with? It blows my mind. And I'm telling you, players that haven't been there before, it's going to affect them. You can do a practice and a shoot around and everything, but it's different. I'll give you an example. When I went to Dallas, they built the American Airlines Center, and it was brand new, and they had a practice court in there below the locker rooms and below the weight room and everything. So that's where we had practices. Usually we're in the practice court. That's fine. And we started having shoot arounds in the morning on the practice court to get our strategies and how we're going to play this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't too happy with that. And actually, Dirk, Steve Nash, a lot of those guys after the shoot around went out onto the regular court and shot to just get a feel for it. But players started to get lazy. So before the game, at the 2 hours before a game, the guys that don't play a lot, they go out on the floor, get a workout shooting, all this stuff, and then the players the regular guys come out with about an hour before the game, maybe, and they get the routine and their shots up. But guys were getting lazy, and instead of going all the way out to the court, which is all of about 40 yards away, they would just walk down the stairs up to the practice court and get their shooting in and the routine. I'm like, why are you shooting here? The background's different, the lighting's different, the floor is different, the backboards are different. Why were you going to play in an hour and a half out there on that floor with those stands, with that lighting? Why aren't you shooting out there? And most of the better players did. So this is times 100 because you've never played in a stadium before with a raised floor, terrible lighting, and a bad background. It makes no sense to me.
You played in the Silver Dome, and there used to be complaints about shooting in the Silver Dome.
Of course, because Silverdome was one of the first, and it was when they opened the doors on up, the wind would blow in there. I mean, it was, it was early. I mean, it's much better now. I mean, the Final Four with the the lighting, everything is much better than it was in the Silverdome, and we played in Seattle in the Dome also, which was crazy. But yeah, it was different. It was an advantage for us when I was in Detroit when teams came in and played in the Dome.
Yeah. You mentioned that when the Lions would open the door when teams get ready to kick field goals because he would get them ready to shoot through there. The little things, man, certainly make a difference. But Mo, they like selling them tickets, man.
But why? I mean,
I don't know. They want all the money in the world.
Yeah, I mean, the TV rights are the money and the skyboxes and the sponsors, and you can't really buy a ticket in the lower bowl unless you're a coach or a sponsor or giving money to the NCAA. And I've been to probably about 10 Final Fours. I think I went to the game once, maybe, because it was Kansas and I got 10 rows behind the bench. But I got tickets. They're up high. Why am I going to the game? You know what you do when you sit up high in a Final Four game? You end up turning around and looking at the screen.
Yeah.
The screen's, you're looking at that like it's TV because you can't see anything way down there. You can't see those guys. Those guys look like ants down there. Why would you pay money to do that? To be part of it? I don't know.
We're getting some NBA questions, and we will get to the NBA for sure. There's some things to discuss. But, Mo, we still got another game to talk about.
Yep.
Tomorrow, Duke and Houston, and your thoughts on those two teams. Duke has best player in the country, Cooper Flag. Houston's been good all year, man, and Kelvin Sampson is such an outstanding coach. Your thoughts on that game?
Well, first of all, talk about Duke has size, strength, length. Houston does not. Their players are all 6'8", 6'6", 6'5". They don't have any 6'10" guys. So, but they're tough as nails. Kelvin Sampson's a great coach. They're based on defense. But in the long run, believe it or not, in basketball, size does matter. So, your guards are 6'1", 6'3", 6'4", and your center's 6'8", and your power forward 6'8". And let's see, Duke is 6'8", 6'9", 6'6", 6'6", 7'2", 6'6". So that matters. And I think Duke's the best team. I think it's should be a good game. But I have Duke. I've had Duke going and Florida going for a month now, and I don't change that. And I think Duke is the best team in the country now, and they've showed it. Kelvin Sampson, like you said, great coach. But my guy, John Shire, who played for me in RGV in the G League, D League, is showing that he was a perfect fit, a perfect pick to replace Coach K at Duke. He's just really coming into his own. He's really turned into really one of the best college coaches in the country.
Think of the shoes he's had to fill. You coming in replacing Coach K?
Yeah, but he won a championship as a player there at Duke, And he was an assistant coach for 10 or 15 years under Coach K.
Yeah.
So he learned from the best, you know? So, you know, if you're going to win a championship at Duke, you have credibility. Then you're going to coach under Coach K for 10 or 15 years. You got credibility. And now you show that you can draw plays, have great plays, out of bounds plays. You know, it was just a perfect fit.
Yeah. All right. We got, and hey, Monday, we got the game Monday. You want to pick a winner there?
Yeah, Duke beats Florida for the championship. And John Shire,
hell of a game.
John Shire has cut down the nets as a player, and now he's going to cut down the nets as a coach. That's my prediction now.
There's only a couple of guys that's done that, I believe.
Yeah, I don't.
I saw the list. It's a real small list.
It's got to be. I don't know. You know, but you know, I think Hurley's Connecticut coach's Hurley's brother won a championship. I don't think he did. Yeah, so that it's going to be interesting, but it should be good games. So, you know, I know the point spreads are pretty close, but you know, as far as Auburn's concerned, it depends on Broom's health. How is he? You know, and you're not going to know till game time. I mean, he came back, but his adrenaline, he wasn't feeling anything. His adrenaline was running that show, you know, and he went out. But believe me, I know once the adrenaline wears off and you're in that ice bucket and you're going, man, this stuff hurts, man. My knee hurts, my elbow hurts. You know, he's going to get up, but we'll see in the long run if he can hang in there physically. So that's going to be a big factor in the Auburn-Florida game.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to the NBA. We opened talking about John Morant and his issues. A couple of newsworthy items I just want to throw out at you. CP3, Chris Paul, just finished his 20th season. He says, I think I'm going to keep playing. Does he have value now, Mo? Is there a place for him?
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know if he's a starter anymore. And I don't know if he can survive without, you know, Handle not being a starter. But, you know, he's an ultimate point guard. He's a good leadership for that young team. It was really good this year, I thought, but then Wemby went down, and that was the end of that story. And they made a trade late in the season to add a player. So hopefully those are all coming back. You know, now that I don't know if Coach Popovich comes back. From what I'm hearing, he's doing okay, but he's not doing great. And I don't, you know, so they need some kind of leadership like Chris Paul if Pop isn't there for sure. And, you know, but I don't know if he can do it physically anymore. But, you know, I wish I had that option. I might play next year and make 15 mil or 20 mil. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'll let you know when I let you know.
Paul, the old adage is great players don't make great coaches. But how do you see Chris Paul as a possible coach?
I don't know him that well. I mean, Larry Bird was a good coach, but that's the exception to the rule, I think. You know, because if you have the ability to do stuff that other players or people can't do, you know, like a Michael Jordan or someone like that, you know, and now you're a coach and you're expecting your players to be able to do that and they can't, that's tough. That's tough to deal with. And, you know, but Chris Paul, you know, he has a demeanor about him. He's been president of Players Association. He's been involved in a lot of decisions in the league and the NBA. I think most players really respect him. And he has a demeanor about him. But it would be up to, you know, I don't like when people, Steve Nash, right? He was thrown into a poop storm, you know, if I want to use a different word, but, you know, and he's a great basketball mind, great personality, but, you know, you got to, you know, X's and O's and decision making and leadership, and you got to manage players and their agents and salary caps and all this different stuff in the media, you know, that's going on. And God forbid you have John Morant shooting guns at a game, fake guns or whatever. You got to deal with that and maybe get fired. And, you know, so You know, if I'm Chris Paul, why would I want to do that? I mean, he's made what, 300 million or something? Come on, man. I don't
Well,
need that.
and he was talking about how much he loves the game of basketball. Now here's a guy, and I truly believe he's a guy who loves to play and loves the
Yeah, well, yeah, we will see. Do you love studying film? Do you love coming up with game plans? Do you love running practices? Do you love managing your coaching staff? Do you love babysitting all these players? Do you love dealing with egos? Do you love dealing with the media at 10 times? You know, in San Antonio, they weren't coming to Chris Paul, the whole media all the time. Some were. They were going to Wimby, and they were going to Pop when he was there. So that's going to, loving the game, great, understand that. But things that you have to do as a coach in the NBA, I don't know if anybody's ready for it. If I was him, I'd want to be an assistant coach and learn from somebody and see if you really like it before okay, I'm going to be a head coach. And now it's not what I thought it was, and I'm not feeling good. I'm not having fun, and our team's losing, and everybody's jumping on me. Why did I do this? I didn't know all this stuff. If you're a player, you worry about you, my shot, my plays, my physical ability, my care. When you're the head coach, you have to carry about 12 of those guys, all of their abilities, all their shooting, all their health, all the coaching staff. You have to, not just you. Watch film. I get to watch film on me. Look at it. I should have done this. No, you got to watch film. Everybody.
Hey Mo, maybe you should ask Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah. Oh no! Call Steve Nash. Ask
Yeah.
Steve Nash. Perfect.
Hey, Steve mentioned Sam Cassell as a possible coach. He never seems to get that call.
Yeah, and he's been around. He knows what Sometimes it's not a fair business. Ask Taylor Jenkins. It's not fair, and guys get opportunities that shouldn't. Guys get opportunities that should. Guys don't get opportunities that should. And I'll tell my friend Jack Sigma, great coach, never got a chance to be a head coach in the NBA. Patrick Ewing,
Too
a
tall.
really good coach. Yeah, he was they were assistant coaches for 20 years. Sam Cassell, for whatever reason, seems like he's in that category. Even though he's a point guard, so he knows all about basketball. But
Yeah, you guys are too tall. You know too much. You're just too tall.
So tell me, give me any 6'10" or 7 foot NBA head coaches. Go.
Zero.
No, there's one. Bill Cartwright.
Yeah. How long ago was that, Mo?
Probably 20 years ago, 15 in Chicago. He's the head coach in Chicago. Yep. Other than that, you can't name one. I can name a bunch of point guards.
Hey Mo, the Bucks are hopeful that they're gonna get Damian Lillard back in a few days.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a few days, but they said they checked him out and it looks better than they thought. But it's not an ankle, it's not a knee, it's a hamstring. It has to do with blood clots and that kind of thing, which is scary. Scary as a player, scary as a family. So, I think they're being cautious about it, but they need him back. They're playing okay. I was really glad to see Giannis get 20 assists the other night. That
35, 17, 20.
Yeah, I don't care. 35, 17, I don't care. He could get that in his sleep, but 20 assists means he's actually passing the ball, and that makes the Bucks a lot better, and they won. So if they can get Lillard back and he's in any kind of shape, and they're going to get Portis back, right, from the suspension. So Kevin McHale is about 6'10". Linda. How about that, Ricky? Linda's like throwing out comments in the other room. She's right, though. McHale is 6'11". Okay, Linda.
Well done, Linda.
But
Kevin did a good job. He's a good coach too.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, but you know what? His ankle was fused. He had trouble moving a little bit. And I think, the other thing that happens when you're a coach in the NBA is travel. You are traveling and, traveling on private jets and you're staying at Four Seasons, but you are flying. You are going to different time zones. You are going to airports. So that can catch up with you also.
Yeah.
But the Bucks, if Lillard comes back, Portis comes back, you never know. But quietly, the Boston Celtics have closed the gap on the Cavs. It's too late to really catch them,
yeah.
but I think the Cavs were like 8 or 9 games ahead,
Yeah.
and now I think they're 4 maybe. So
they're 5 up. Boston's 9-1 in their last 10, and Cleveland's 5-5 in their last 10.
And New York's, the Knicks have got a new wind in them, and they're playing better. They're hanging tight at the 3rd spot. Indiana's kind of come on strong lately and are playing really good basketball at 4, and Milwaukee's battling them for that 4 spot and get home court with the Detroit Pistons that are right there too.
Hey, Mo, speaking of the Pistons, I don't know if you saw the fight with Minnesota, but
really, did you call that a fight, Ricky? Come on, man.
I mean, I know it's kind of different.
Little pushy.
What do you do with a guy like Stewart? Because you want him playing the way he plays, but he's got like 13 techs now. How do you rail him in and keep him being the physical guy that you want in the middle?
That's part of coaching, right? So you don't want to it's like Dylan Brooks, right? That's his personality, and that's how he plays, and that's how he's impactful. But at the same time, you got to talk to him, say, listen, we want your passion, we want your, emotion, but we have to have you on the court if we're going to win. And if it gets away from you and you're not on the court, we're not going to win games. We need you on the court. Same like Draymond Green, right?
Yeah.
If you're not on the court, we can't win.
Yeah. Well,
and you got to show you take them aside and love your passion to win. Great teammate. We gotta be careful here. You know where the line is. We can't cross it anymore. We can't get you suspended.
Hey, that's a good point. Steve has about Lillard. He can't even fly right now.
Well, he's not going to play unless he can fly. So, it's whatever that situation is with his blood clot or whatever. He's not going to play unless he's cleared to, cleared. But I guess who was a couple of years ago only playing home games, right? when someone didn't take the shot in the COVID thing, so they can only play home games. But so maybe Lillard just plays home games, so that means you got to get home court advantage in the first round to win. But I would think they'll clear him to fly. I mean, if you can't fly, it's dangerous for you to fly. Then it's more dangerous for you to play, I would think.
Yeah, you probably don't need to be playing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you can't fly, Mo, Kevin Durant wants out of Phoenix. I know you're shocked by this.
Has he moved before? What a surprise.
Once or twice, man.
OKC to Golden State to Brooklyn to Phoenix. Where next? I mean, he turned his ankle the other day. It looked pretty bad. But, I mean, hey, more power to him. Be a player to rent. Kawhi Leonard went to Toronto for 1 year. 1 year. And they won a championship. So was it worth it? I think Toronto would say yes. They're wearing rings. So, and more power, Phoenix, get something for them. I mean, it's obviously not working. What you're doing now is not working.
It's not working.
It's not working. What are you, 14th spot, 12th spot? I mean, you have the highest salary in the league, and you're at the bottom of the league. So, why not go get a couple young players and, let Kevin be, got hired gun somewhere and maybe win another championship. I don't know where that would be, but,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, a team with assets like Oklahoma City, but
Would
I
they
don't know if
even
they
want
want.
him? Would they even want him?
I don't think so. They're right there, and they got the roster, and so. But you have to have assets to get Kevin right Durant. You can't just get him for some G League guy. So you have to have enough assets that it doesn't tear your team apart. So we got Kevin Durant, but we had to give up 3 of our starters. So what's the point?
Right.
You're worse off than you were. So it has to be a team that has assets that and money, to want to pay them. But I'm sure there's some out there. I mean, the guy in Clipperland, right? Ballmer, he's a billionaire. I mean, he went and got Kawhi. Maybe give up somebody and bring him in, Durant in, and see what
Hey,
happens.
Paul, the Clippers have played well of late. They're 8-2. They're in the number 8 spot. Think about it. They're actually tied with Memphis. Memphis is 45-32. The Clippers are 44-32.
Yeah, but so is Minnesota.
And Minnesota's 45-32. So
Yeah, so I can see Clippers jumping over Memphis, but not Minnesota. So what's that put them in the 7th spot? You're still in the play-in, right?
yeah,
But here's the thing in the West, though. I mean, OKC, Houston, Denver, Lakers, Golden State, Minnesota, Clippers, all those teams are pretty much equal. I mean, if you're playing any of those teams in the first round, any of those teams could win. I think OKC has the edge over all of them. But other than that, Houston, Denver, Lakers, Golden State, Minnesota, Clippers, they all could win that series if they play each other, right? So you just got to be healthy and playing good, which, like you pointed out, Ricky, the Clippers are right now. Maybe they're, making that run right at the right time.
hey,
So's Golden State, though.
Golden State's for that well. And,
Since they
and
picked up Butler, they're like 12-2 or something.
Mo, what did you think about Joker's 61-point game the other night?
I mean, he's the best player in the league, I think. I don't. What else went with it? How many rebounds and assists do you have?
I think he had 20 rebounds, 10 assists.
Yeah, I mean, that's what has the all-around game. So he's the closest thing to Will Chamberlain, I guess.
Yeah. I know it's funny when I talk to you. When scoring does not impress you at all.
A lot of guys can score.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have a lot of guys can score. I mean, just look at the league. Look at everybody's 20-point whatever. But if you're going to be the greatest player, you got to rebound. You got to defend. You got to be able to pass. So it's the whole game. It's not. That's why I think Shea Alexander has dropped in MVP voting. He was up there, when he was scoring and rebounding and assists and all that, but the scoring is still up there, but his assists are down now. So, that hurts you when you're trying to be the best player. That's why, Giannis scoring 36. Who cares? He's going to score 50. He got 20 assists. 20 assists. That's doing something. That's helping your teammates.
What age that's and I'm gonna get into one of this too. I mean, he's not who wants Durant now? If you think he might be fine, he still has value, obviously.
Oh, he can score, right? And one of the best scorers in the history of the game. He could still do that. He's not the defender. He used to be a good defender. He could block shots, and he used to rebound, but he can't really do that. So that's why I'm saying if you're a team that's in the top echelon, has the money, has some assets, you don't have to give up a lot to get them, he can put you over the hump. If he was on the Warriors right now and healthy, what do you think their chances would be as they are now?
Yeah.
They would go from winning a couple rounds to being the West champions in that with OKC if he was on that team right now. So, he has value, but it has to be specific. He can't carry a team anymore. Either can Chris Paul, but those would be great pieces in the right situation.
Hey, Steve came up with a couple more big guys coaching. Dave Cowens,
6'9",
Bill Russell,
6'10",
6'10".
6'9". Yeah.
Mo, we just got a couple more minutes. What are you looking for these next few days as we head? Everybody's jockeying for these final positions.
Well, I think, when you look at, in the West, Houston and Denver, a lot of the spots are taken up at the top. And with, I don't know, 6 games left, whatever there is left, they're not going to change. But Memphis, Minnesota, Clippers, Golden State are all right there with the Lakers, so that shifting could have an impact. But in the long run, no matter if you're in the East or the West, you need to be healthy. All your players need to be playing and healthy because, there are no more gimmies, really. Even if you're OKC or Cleveland or Boston, even if you're playing the Bucks or the Knicks or someone like that, it's not a given. So guess what? Your best option is to be healthy and playing well and in a good flow going into the playoffs. That's what you want to be.
Yeah. I guess right now the Warriors would be the best dark horse over there the way they're playing.
What about the Lakers?
I don't know if they still even consider them a dark horse all the way up to 5 there. But you remember they were down at 9 and 10 for a while.
Yeah, but I'm going to say it again. They're winning. They're on a roll. They're playing good with all this stuff, but they still don't have a center. They don't have any size. So you're going to go play OKC with Holmgren and Hartenstein. You're going to play Denver with the Joker. Really? Houston has that young kid. He's a 7-footer. You're playing small ball, which works during the season. We've seen teams do it before. When you get in a 7-game series, that's not going to work. You can't have Draymond Green playing 5 for you. It's not going to work against the Joker and those guys. So, it's a great story. They might be able to win the first round, but after that, if you don't have the roster to carry yourself, I'll say you bang it out for 7 games and you're beat up, and now you got to go play Denver or or OKC. I mean, that's you're okay. Let's gather up all the horses, all our 6'8" guys, and we're gonna try and play again.
Hey, how many teams you think you win the title this
year? Cleveland, Boston, maybe Milwaukee if they're healthy and get their stuff together. OKC, Denver. Maybe the Lakers. I don't think Houston has the experience. They have a nice roster. It's still too young. Golden State, I don't believe because they don't have the size. Minnesota, not really. They were the darling about 2 months ago, right? They're not anymore. So I think, so what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 to 6 teams probably can possibly win.
Yeah.
Not likely. Possibly.
Yeah. Well, we need to get out of here, Mo. We got the game Monday night, so we'll find another night next week to wrap up the game. So go to.
And then the playoff picture in the NBA is going to be more clear too next week.
Yeah. So check us out at We Got Next. And always go to Sports Fluent, where you can subscribe to our show. And we appreciate everybody out there, man. All the new friends we've met since going to Sports Fluent and coming on and following us each week. We really appreciate you guys. Steve says the Pistons. No, man.
No, because you said the Pistons.
Yeah, he said, I said it. No. Hey, if we, the Pistons have lost 14 straight playoff games. If we can even win a couple of games, and even if we get beat in the first round, and they have officially qualified for one of the top 6 spots.
Well, you could do. I mean, you can be in a series with the Knicks, with Indiana, even with Milwaukee. You know, that's. You know, I think. You know,
I
that's.
like that matchup with the Knicks better than the Pacers.
Yeah, look what we were talking about last year with the Pistons and where we are now. It's night and day. Really nice progress for the Pistons.
Oh, speaking of the Knicks, Brunson may be back soon for them too. So, man, you hope all these guys can get healthy because you want everybody. We want to see the best. And I tell you, Mo, you know, watching the NBA, I watch these college guys, and these are obviously good players, but the talent is freaking night and day.
Well, Ricky, I took you to the G League practice here when you were here. Remember? You were amazed at the talent. Yeah, it's night and day. I mean, steps. When you're a player, you go from high school to college to the pro, you know, to the G League, and then to the NBA or high. I mean, it's just big steps. Yeah.
It is truly stunning, the difference. But we got to get out of here. Paul, people are asking about your knees, but your knees are fine. Your foot is getting better too, right?
Well, I've had 6 surgeries on my feet, 6 on my knee, have a new hip, but I'm hanging in there. I'm still around, not moving nearly as well as I used to, but you know, pay the price and I do it all over again for 12 years in the NBA. I wish I had a ring though. I wish I had a championship ring.
Absolutely. My great friend Paul Mokeski, I'm Rick Hampton. Peace, everybody. See you next week.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.